It's a routine traffic stop, or so it seems, until a racist cop pulls a gun on a black woman, accusing her of something she never did. The tension is thick, the officer's words sharp, and the situation quickly spirals out of control. The passenger, visibly shaken, tries to stay calm, but the officer won't back down. His words are full of hate and suspicion, yet something about the woman's demeanor doesn't match his assumptions. But here's the twist. This isn't just any passenger. She's an FBI agent, undercover and working a case that could bring down the entire department. As the gun is still aimed at her, the woman's next words will leave everyone in shock. How will she handle this explosive confrontation? And what happens when the officer realizes who he's really messing with? Stay tuned, because the truth will turn everything upside down. The officer, a veteran with a chip on his shoulder, has never liked the idea of being challenged, especially not by someone like her. He's used to controlling the situation, barking orders, and getting compliance. But this woman, calm and composed, isn't showing the fear he expects. He feels his power slipping, but his pride won't allow him to back down. What he doesn't know is that this encounter is no accident. The woman, Agent Simone Harris, has been tracking corruption within the force for months. She's been working undercover, gathering intel on officers who abuse their power. The department she's investigating, the very one this officer works for. The irony of it all stings. As the tension mounts, Simone knows she has to be careful with every word, every move. One wrong step, and everything she's worked for could come crashing down. But she's ready. She's been preparing for this moment her whole career. Simone stands frozen, her breath steady but her heart racing. The officer's hand tightens around the gun, but she knows she can't make a sudden move. Every second feels like an eternity. She's been in high-stakes situations before, but this is different. This is personal. The officer's anger is palpable, his voice shaking with disdain as he orders her to step out of the car. He accuses her of being involved in some shady business, a supposed scam he's convinced she's running. But Simone knows this isn't about her. It's about him and what she represents. A challenge to the way he's always gotten away with his actions. But this isn't the first time she's encountered this kind of prejudice. Her entire career has been shadowed by officers like him, men who see her as less than, who don't believe someone like her could be in a position of power. What they don't know is that Simone's resilience has been shaped by years of fighting battles no one even saw coming. As the officer continues to accuse her, Simone's mind races. What if he shoots? What if he doesn't believe her, doesn't back down, and escalates things further? The department's internal investigation into his unit is already delicate. The last thing she needs is for this officer's reckless behavior to blow her cover. But she can't back off either. She's closer than ever to exposing a network of corruption that's been feeding on the system for years. Meanwhile, the officer's body camera, running the entire time, captures every word, every moment of tension building between them. Simone knows the footage will be used as evidence, but she can't afford to lose control. She has to maintain her calm, not just for her safety, but for the future of her investigation. She waits for an opening, a moment when she can shift the power back in her favor. But the clock is ticking, and the officer's finger hovers dangerously close to the trigger. Simone's mind races as the officer's finger twitches on the gun. She can feel the sweat collecting on the back of her neck, the weight of the situation bearing down on her. Every muscle in her body is taut, prepared to react, but she knows any sudden movement could be misinterpreted. His eyes burn with suspicion, and she realizes it's not just about the investigation. It's about his own ego. He's been in control of this neighborhood for years, and now for the first time, he's not. That's what he can't stand. Her heart pounds as she senses the officer inching closer to the edge. He's almost desperate now, his words getting sharper, accusing her more wildly with each breath. You think you're better than me. You think you can just walk away with your lies. His voice cracks, showing just a hint of vulnerability. Simone holds her ground, her hand resting just inches from her badge. But she can't reveal herself yet. If she does, it could trigger everything she's worked so hard to hide. The tension is unbearable. She can feel the weight of the moment, the crumbling of her carefully laid plans hanging by a thread. Through the rearview mirror, she can see his partner slowly approaching, uncertain, unsure of what's happening. The backup isn't here yet, and the officer's losing control. His partner seems to be hesitating, clearly sensing something's off, but he stays quiet, unsure of how to intervene. Simone's breath catches when the officer suddenly points the gun closer, his face twisted in rage. He's so close now that she can feel the heat of the barrel. A part of her knows she needs to act, to break the silence, but she can't risk revealing herself too soon. Her eyes flicker to the camera, knowing it's recording, capturing everything that could destroy the officer if it goes public. The officer leans in even closer, his breath hot on her face. You're just a little liar. Ain't no way you're FBI, he growls. The words hit her like a slap, but Simone doesn't flinch. She's been called worse, but this is the line. His power has been built on lies, and for the first time, he's about to find out what it means when the truth comes out. The air around them feels thick, every second stretching longer than the last. The officer's finger flexes again, but Simone's eyes never leave his. Just as he opens his mouth to say something, her voice breaks the tension, calm, measured, with just the right amount of weight to make him stop. Go ahead. Simone stands frozen, her mind spinning. Everything she thought she understood about this operation, about her investigation, has just been turned on its head. And with every passing second, the danger around her intensifies. What's happening right now isn't just about her. This is much bigger than a single officer's racial prejudice. This is a network, a conspiracy within the very department she's been trying to expose. The stakes have been raised, and Simone knows she can't afford to let the pieces slip away. But she also knows that in this game, the lines between friend and foe are starting to blur. The standoff is unbearable. Simone's heart pounds in her chest as the two officers face each other, the air thick with distrust and fear. Greg's gun is still aimed squarely at Daniels, and for a moment, neither of them moves. Simone feels a bead of sweat roll down her neck. This was supposed to be a routine stop, an investigation, yes, but nothing like this. The truth is closing in, but it's not the truth she thought it was. Greg, you don't want to do this. Daniels grinds out. Before Simone can respond, a figure steps out of the shadows. Another officer, but this time, it's someone she didn't expect. It's a familiar face, one she thought was on her side. And just like that, the last piece of the puzzle falls into place, revealing a twist that shakes the foundation of everything Simone believed about the investigation. It's not just the department that's corrupt. It's the very people who were supposed to help her bring justice. The sirens grow louder, but the truth is far from clear. The figure stepping out of the shadows is none other than Agent Thomas, Simone's former partner. A sinking feeling hits her chest as she realizes the truth. He's been working with Greg all along. Betrayal stings worse than anything else, and Simone's mind races as she struggles to process the double cross. But before she can speak, Thomas looks directly at Greg, nodding subtly. It's clear now this was all a setup from the start. The corruption ran deeper than Simone had ever realized, with even those closest to her pulling strings behind the scenes. But the sirens grow louder, and in that moment, Simone makes a choice. She presses record on her camera, capturing everything. Greg's confession, Thomas's role, and the whole operation falling apart. When the backup arrives, there's no denying the truth. Simone walks away from the wreckage, knowing the fight isn't over. But at least now, the truth will finally be heard. And that's the beginning of a new chapter.